And I want to move on to your project portfolio now. You've worked on some of the biggest projects in the region. I'm looking at the list now that you've got the Coca-Cola Arena, the Mohammed bin Rashid Library, and a lot of the pavilions at Expo 2020 Dubai. But there was an interesting development that happened at the end of last year where you launched your subsidiary, IBuild, which is kind of focusing on more medium-sized projects. Is that kind of the scope for you this year, on kind of focusing more on kind of smaller projects rather than these big, landmark projects?
No. So that's a very clear answer. So IBuild is not about size.
Okay.
IBuild sort of is a rebirth of a traditional construction company into a more forward-thinking sort of construction player that's more nimble and that can be more cost-effective and that will try to be more modular and that will try to use technology more. So because it's a newborn, so we're saying let it sort of sharpen its teeth on smaller projects first to strengthen the team and to give them an opportunity to apply all these sort of more sort of untested technologies on simpler projects. And also it's supposed to be more cost effective. That's the whole idea. So it can compete in a space where typically ASGC, because of its size and because of its overheads and because of its inefficiencies, may not be able to be competitive. But the idea is IBuild is not supposed to be sort of an ASGC that focuses on smaller, more drab, less sort of interesting projects, because we think the market is there for those projects as well, and we're very excited about them. But we think IBuild can target projects regardless of their size and nature using newer, more advanced construction techniques that will be safer, better for the environment, faster and cheaper. So we're testing it out, but we're going to roll it out across all projects, hopefully over the next, months or years.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I ask is that, the region's construction sector is quite competitive. You see a lot of these sort of contractors looking to be part of, the biggest and most kind of unique projects. They're going to be breaking records and, are going to be sort of the biggest around. So what sort of, is that kind of your style of kind of getting these type of projects? Do you want the biggest? Do you want the best?
No, not necessarily. We're not after any particular sort of trophy assets. We generally operate with repeat customers and we try and be a sort of a preferred delivery partner for repeat customers. So that's our mantra, So if you're a player that will have a lot of construction work happening over the next few years, we will make sure that you're happy with our performance across the metrics that are relevant to you so that you will continue to use us again. So we, as much as possible, try and avoid sort of doing anything that's sort of one time. Again, the whole story is about scale. The whole story is about moving into repeating and becoming more efficient and, at what we're doing.
Okay, and now I want to turn the attentions outside the UAE now, and kind of what you're doing internationally. So I understand that you have offices here in the UAE, Egypt, and in the UK. But one of the other big markets at the moment is Saudi Arabia. There's a lot of attention going into the kingdom at the moment. What is your plans with Saudi Arabia? Are you looking to potentially expand and have a presence there?
No. So
simply put,
we're focusing on the markets where we are. Yeah. So definitely, if you look at the MENA region, the Middle East, North Africa, the largest three markets are number 1, Saudi, number 2, UAE, number 3, Egypt. We have been born in the UAE. We moved to Egypt sort of more than a decade ago. And we think between those two markets, we have enough on our plate in terms of construction activity. So we have no immediate plans to expand into Saudi. But undoubtedly, it's a large market with a lot of potential.
And one of those markets that you have a presence in is Egypt. I want to quickly talk to you about what's going on there. So we confirmed ASGC as our gold sponsor for the Leaders in Construction Egypt conference. We're very excited about this. This is our kind of first major event there. How excited are you about the Egyptian market at the moment? Tell us what kind of your big plans are there.
Extremely excited, in brief. So We've been in Egypt for 13 years now as ASGC. And originally hailing from Egypt, I sort of strived to make it happen. And we struggled for years. But the last few years have been an amazing experience in Egypt, led by government initiatives. So I see a lot of similarities, actually, between what's happening in Egypt and what's happened in the UAE for the last couple of decades, where the government led sort of a huge infrastructure sort of upgrade to the country that does reap benefit, but after a while. So we see that happening in Egypt now. The government is driving a massive sort of construction boom. Contractors are very busy. They have record revenues. There's, very little unemployment in the country, which is, important for a country with over 100 million people of a local population. Building material prices are going up. People are investing in construction. Real estate is doing well. And not just the built asset, but also the general infrastructure of the country. So the government has a lot of ambitious plans. And we are, happily following suit. And we think that there's still quite a long run before sort of any sort of tides turn, because in general, construction is cyclical. But we think that Egypt has still a good run for a few years. And we've had an amazing experience, especially in the last few years. Most of our work is with the government. Yeah. So like here, predominantly our work is with government and GREs. In Egypt, our work is with government and GREs.
Okay. And Bishoy, final question from me. You are in charge of running one of the biggest contractors in this region. You've had a lot of success with your projects. What is the secret to your success? Are there any tips that you'd like to share for any sort of future leaders looking to prosper in this kind of region for the construction sector?
So I'm not sure really if I'm the right person to ask for advice, but I can just share sort of my overall philosophy, which is that we need to make sure that all stakeholders are happy. And I was very sort of enlightened by Sheikh Mohammed's focus from many, many years on happiness. So they created happiness indicators. You'd go to any government office and, you have a chance of pressing one of those smiley or not smiley faces, to report on your experience. And a couple of years ago also, there was an announcement about how government agencies would be sort of rated based on the happiness of the customers. So we try and see how, as an organization, we have happy customers, happy employees, happy stakeholders. I think also reading Jeff Bezos's last sort of letter to his audience as CEO of Amazon, he spoke about how Amazon created value. And he did a very rough computation for how Amazon created value to shareholders because of its declared profits, but much more how it created value to its employees because this is the income that the employees got, and then how much it created value to its customers by serving them in a more efficient way than traditional business models for whatever services they were going to get, and then how it created value for its suppliers because by working with Amazon, they've made sort of also so much value creation or profit. And he said Amazon as an organization created so much value, so much happiness, so much addition to the world. I think that's a very good way of looking at things. So we don't have a specific financial target. We don't have a specific sort of growth target. We want to ensure that as an entity, the firm is sort of emanating positivity. So, are we happy sitting here in this office? Are our clients happy working with us? Are the thousands of people who have been working, in our firm for the years happy? Are their families grateful that these individuals are attached to this organization? Is the supply chain that sort of is feeding into this organization feeling that it's good that they're working on these projects with this company? We ask ourselves these questions often. And I think that is an important metric. And it ties then into everything. So if there's this positive environment that you're operating in, I think sort of, that continually drives the company in a forward direction. So, you make profits, you grow, your clients like you have amazing people in the organization who are empowered to give you great ideas, to see how you can innovate and expand, and so on.
Bishoy, thank you for sharing your insights. It's been
You're
an
welcome.
absolute pleasure to speak with you.
You're welcome.